And we are going live. As usually, already according to tradition, I'm late to my own streams, but I know that there are no like millions of people waiting, so I feel myself okay with that. Let me quickly open the thing where I'm going to draw and share my screen with you, and we're gonna jump right to the topic. So the previous topic in this iteration of my streams, and I got many of courses and streams iterations, like and this time I'm going to try to do a bit differently, because before I always went to the details of each of the three blocks of programming in more detailed level, uh, one by one, like talking about data first and about conditions and another lesson about flow, etc. But now I'm approaching from a different angle, and we're gonna try to do it all at once. 1 second. Sorry for being so sloppy and unprepared, but bear with me. We are almost there. Voila. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. You are while you are learning programming, I'm learning French, and I understand how hard it is to learn something new. So I'm with you, and with that, having said that, yeah, let's open this whiteboard and go. So if you didn't watch my first very simple, maybe not so short and more relaxed video about first three pillars of programming, you could find there something like this or like that. Generally, if you never heard about programming, and if you really learn it from scratch, I would recommend you to go back and watch it. Otherwise, if you're already familiar with some of the concepts, etc., you can skip it. And because today we're gonna do kind of recap anyway, and we're going to go to the more deeper level for each of those guys. So the first guy is data, the second is condition, and the third one is flow or control. So if we talk about recap, this is basically was recap, but let's do it a bit more. Okay, the data, the first pillar is all about information, like uh, all around us, your age, your name, the weather forecast, and even the every pixel of this screen, like every um, every bit of information you could think about. It's all data. Data it could be different. Today we're going to talk about that, how different it could be. But most importantly, that we remember that this is one of the most important blocks of programming, data. Then we have question marks here, like this one. And it's condition, if, like all those very popular if statements in almost, I guess, in every programming language, as far as I know, except maybe some like assembler or close to the metal things, like where there we don't write anything in English specifically. Other than that, you can find if almost everywhere. So it's like a question condition. So if some conditions met, we go there. If not, we go there. So again, if we combine these two guys together, like the first and second one, if the weather is good, the information we got information about weather, and if the weather is good and we got sunshine outside, then, so we're asking the question, is it good? And we say, yes, it's good. Or is it sun shines there? Like, is it rainy? Is it that or so and so? And then, depending on the answer, we go like, if it's sun, Yes, we go to the beach. No, we stay home. And the final guy, actually, I already mentioned about it without mentioning. Like when I was talking, like if it's sun, we go to the beach. If it's not, we stay home. We were kind of going by the flow, like of the things depending on the where do we go, to the left, to the right, yes or no. So it's all kind of something should control all of this. So this is why we need this third guy. It's about control, about flow, and it's controlling not only these things but basically all things. How the program goes, like from that computer knows that it should read program from the top to the bottom, not from the bottom to the top, from the left to the right, etc., etc. Or it could go from the right to the left, depending how you're writing, but it must be according to the rules, and this third guy is controlling the situation. Now to more details, and here I will slow down because they're gonna be new stuff. So even though I said that we are going to look to all three guys today, not like I did before where I made separated videos for each of them, we still cannot talk about three things at the same time. So we start with the first one, data. So we already briefly mentioned what data is during the recap. So now let's talk about types of the data more uh, in more detailed way and more specific way. And specifically, we're gonna talk how and which types of the data we can see in programming and programming languages and software development world, etc., etc. But we can still start with the more general approach. Like if we are talking about more general approach, uh, we can, for example, say that data can be fixed. It's like types of the data: fixed or variable, variable, variable. Excuse me, my writings. I just don't want to, of course, lose time on writing. But you got it. Fixed. So fix, never change, or changeable, you can say. So this is already two types of data, but we could also divide the data to other different types. Like for example, uh, data can be represented as, for example, like colors, like blue, yellow, green, etc. So or numbers, 1 to 3, etc. Or words, like for example, sun is a word. Can be also represented by letters. One can argue that if we have information represented as letters, we can kind of get words using letters, building like putting letters together. That's true, but still we can say that generally it's like different types of the data. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 types of the data we see in the world. But we can of course go more specific and add more detailed way, like data's like types, if you will, in nature. Mm, it could be like if we go into some uh, like it's not just numbers. We could say it's weight, yeah. It's like or length, dimensions. Like we can say the type of the data could be like frequency, like colors, not just colors, but just like spectrums, like again frequency of the electromagnetic field, etc., etc. So we could go to more broad, like here I put colors, numbers, words, or we could go to more specific. Now, yeah, let me find empty place, space. The same way as we talked about like general world, natural data representation, the same thing pretty much happening inside of the programming languages. So like if we have data and it can be represented, yeah, first, as we talked before, it can be fixed or variable, but this is how usually in programming languages we can indicate something like, let's say, like I always say, we don't, at least at this point, we do not learn any specific programming language, but we can create our own. So let's say we can say fix data, and we can say variable data. And this is again, I'm just creating out of my mind, whatever. Like you can always create your own programming language. You can imagine that this is a programming language, and then you say you say one fixed data, and you have one fixed data and two variable data. Like, and let's um, imagine that we store this data to the kind of boxes. So what I wrote before box, it's kind of describing the box, what kind of data it will have. Like this one will have fixed data, so we will not be able to change it, and these two boxes will be having variable data. And now inside of the box, I'm going to write the name of the box, like label of this box, if you will. Let's say what could be fixed data. It's like let's say they date of your like birthday, let's say, yeah, birthday, because it's never change if you already if you were born at specific time, so it's fixed. So it's, and you kind of protect in this way that nobody will change it. But your age, for example, age, and even your name can be changed. Yeah, you can come up come up with some other name eventually, change your name. So this is like 3 pieces of information inside of our imaginable programming language, where we can kind of saying, okay, store in this box I call birthday, store the birthday, and it should never be changed by anyone. But then in 2 other box I store age and name. So my name is Ark, and my age is 45, and my birthday is like 1978, October 20th. So this one will not be changed. These guys can be changed. Now, as we talked about types of the data, types of information regarding like if it could be changed or could not be changed, we also talk about just different types. Like for example, here we have number. So one of the very popular type in programming languages. Another very popular type is string, they call it, but we call it text because we make life easier for us for now, and we just create our own language and our own terms. And this actually another cool guy, like example of their new data type, and it's actually date. So in some languages they call it date time, but because here I don't have any time, we just call it date in our uh, programming imaginable programming language, which we create from scratch. And so if you want, we can get another one which is time, so where we can set store some time, like 3:40 p.m. for example. Right, so at least you see that we get these four. Normally in programming languages, it's numbers, letters, words. Yeah, this dates or times. Also, very interesting type is Boolean. So now, as we talk about Boolean, we can I think I spelled right, maybe not. When we go to Boolean, we can start talking about second block. So again, was the first block of programming, like we talked about last time a lot. And today we go to more details. And the second one is questions or conditions, if statements, etc. So the questions we ask against the data we have. Oh, I'm running out of space. Let me just talk about this here. So the second one, if gonna work a lot with this Boolean type. Why? Because Boolean type just sounds maybe complicated, but in reality, it's very simple. It's nothing less than just simply yes or no type. So this type of information can only have two possible how to say ways, implementations, whatever. Like it could be only in two possible states, and it can hold only two possible pieces of information, yes or no. You can say it's zero, or I mean 1 or 0. You can also call it true or false. So you got it. It's like binary. It's like either left or right, either true or false. Other types of data, as you just saw, could really have a lot of values inside. Like for example, numbers. It's actually indefinite. Like you go to negative numbers indefinitely, to positive numbers indefinitely. But here with Boolean, it's only two, and there is a reason for that. Like for example, if we ask, if we say if it is sunny, like again checking the weather. Unfortunately, my weather is not sunny. It's more like snowy, rainy. But let's say we ask this question. Like I can ask this question as well right now. Looking out of my window, and the answer will be no. Of course, it is not sunny. The other possible answer could be yes. Yeah, you could argue that the other possible answer could be I don't know. And yeah, we can even create our own types of data. And a lot of times in programming languages, in real life in software development, there are cases when we get not like we get either yes or no, but a lot of times we don't get anything. And then we kind of don't know. And then it's kind of already another type. It's like absence of information. They call it null. In some languages they even have multiple, like a null, undefined, whatever. But it's not about that. Today we are not going to such deep things. We stay with this logical type, which really works together with this condition, with ifs. And normally you should get one of these like guys. Like even if we don't know if it's sunny or not, like if I cannot see the sun and I'm not sure if like if I cannot see the sun, the answer will be no anyway. So it's basically left or right, yes or no. And this is why you have this type of information, the Boolean. And this is why it has only two types. Because here, when you ask the question, this is where like a Boolean type inside. So, but you can say, why do we need it at all if we just ask the question and then the program just flow left or right, etc., etc. Yeah, good question, I guess. And I quickly show you how these types of data can be used. For example, somewhere above in our program using our imaginable programming language, we have something like, let's say, how I put it before, var variable info. Oh, let me just quickly recap. If we created the programming language from scratch, maybe it will be good to stick to. Yeah, it was fixed data, variable data. Okay. So it's not info. Okay, let's say I had variable data and I call it, let's say, yeah, I can call it is Sami. Then I have another one, variable data. Got time and call it got time. So you probably guess that what I'm gonna store in these boxes. So right in the beginning of the program, I can say no or false here. False is no. And if I got time, I also can say no, I don't have time. Then later, like let's say we have long program, have a lot of other things. These things can change. Like maybe we go and check the weather forecast or what is the weather right now, and there's a sunny weather outside. We change it to yes. And if I got some free time, we change it to no. But for now, let's say it was like that. And then we had our if statement. And inside our if statement, we already, instead of writing like if it is sunny, blah blah blah, and I have time, we like instead of really doing something like hard work inside, we just check what is in the boxes, like, and we say if this box is sunny, and got time. Yeah, it sounds a little bit crazy, not like proper English. So we can add a little bit like a hint. So if is sunny has yes in it, kind of if this box has yes in it, and if got time box also has yes in it, then go to the beach. Else, if one of these guys will be no, like because we got and guy here, so these are all guys who work with logical types with Boolean. This is why I'm so spending so much time on for that. We don't really go to the deep level, but this is a bit more deeper than we did last time. And the logical type of information, it works a lot with things like if and or and true or false. Like, so we're kind of checking if this box has true in it or yes, and this one also got true in it or yes, then we go to the beach and have a like very good time there. Or else we just stay home. We stay home. Now imagine if some of these guys changed over the time. Like for now it was no and no, so we stayed home. Let's say if the weather became sunny, so now it's yes. Think for a moment what's gonna happen. Like if there's a sunny and we still don't have time, then will we go to the beach or will we stay home? And the answer is we stay home because The and means that the whole thing also should become yes and positive. So it can become positive, true, yes, only if both of these guys yes, like if I have time and I got sun. So then if maybe I got time but it the sun disappeared and we don't have good weather anymore again, still I will stay home. Oh, what's going on? Okay, still I will stay home because even though I have time, but there's no sunny weather outside, I must stay home. The answer is negative. And only if both of them will be like yes and yes, yes, there's sunny weather outside and we got time, we go to the beach. And these boxes like sunny is sunny and got time could be used in hundreds and thousands of places around our program. This is why it's very handy that we only create them here once, and this is why we should have this type of the data. We could, of course, we could use just numbers, like let's say we could use 1 and 0. 1 is like yes and 0 like no, or you can use any other number. You could say -1 is no, 1 is yes. You could say, you could come up with whatever you want. You could say 35 is yes and 45 is no. But then what you would need to do in every if statement, you will need to check not just simply if the Sunny has yes, but you would need to do more complicated checks, like if Sunny equals 36, and then you need to remember that 36 is like yes, etc., etc. So it's more complicated. You could maybe have more variants, like you could say if Sunny is like and then 0 is no sun at all, 100 is maximum sun, 50 is like 50-50, like percentages, then it's already another story. It's more complex data structure. But for these simple answers, for these simple questions where we always in real life has the answer yes or no, this boolean logical type was created, and it's very handy because in our imaginable language and in real programming languages, they made if statement already considering that whatever will be used there, they it should somehow be evaluated as boolean type. So you no need to put all of this has, yes, blah blah blah. You could just say like this: if is sunny and got time, then do that, or else do that. So it's like automatically evaluating it to true or false to boolean type. So this is basically it for today. And you could say, but you didn't talk about third pillar. It's a flow, it's control. Yeah, but that's what I told you first time, like last time. it's it's very important guy, but it's always mostly behind the scenes. So here behind the scene, it's already was working here, like either go there or there depending on the answer, yes or no. And this is all what third guy is doing. We cannot really study it, at least at this time, as deep as you would maybe like. And I personally, as a software developer, I don't go as deep to the bare metal or to how operating system works, how even the programming languages like compiled and like after we wrote the program, how it's converted to the code, etc. And this is where all these things happening under the hood. This is where this third guy is really getting all the credit. And because I'm not professional of that, and usually it's very complicated stuff, you most likely in a lot of cases do not think about that third pillar and of programming and do not really appreciate it, but you should. And this is why we put it here. We should not forget that without that guy it could be a mess and nothing goes in the order. This is why it's very important to always notice in that. And so if we talk a little bit more in more detailed way about this third guy, that's what we already had said, like in this situation, it is controlling where the program flow goes, and And it's also doing a lot of things when we run our program and it's interpreted, compiled, whatever. All these complicated terms, don't worry about those. We can always learn it in future. So I'm just stop sharing. And I, as always, encourage you in the end, don't be overwhelmed. Don't worry about things like programming, software development. If you're just starting out or if you decided to recap to come back to the basics, it's always great. But if you are only starting out, don't worry, just go slow, but do it every day. I would really recommend to learn once or twice a day at least. It's much like 10 minutes or like 30 minutes like we did now, much better than to study 6 hours or 10 hours a day once a week or once in a couple of weeks. So with that, I just wish you all the best. And with this season we are having now around us, especially starting joyful time in this time of the year. So that was a bit more detailed view on the data flow behind the scene guy and the condition questions, which we have always a lot in our programming languages in our everyday life of developer. So next time we will try to go even deeper. Any questions around any topic on software development and even other topics, appreciate it, and take care, guys. With this, I'm just ending this.